Okay, so now the excitement begins. I need to paint this and I need to choose a color. And originally, while thinking about it, I wanted a color like bread that felt like bread. So like this color. But this is my other journal, my regular journal, and I really don't want two journals the same color. So I've chosen blue. And I did that because while laying in bed this morning, eyes awake, body still kind of thinking about getting up, blue came to mind and I thought, well, let's do blue. And it just seemed like the right choice. So I went and I looked to see, well, what blues do I have in a matte finish? Because I wanted a matte finish, a all-purpose finish or a glossy finish wouldn't be right for my journal. But you can do anything you like. So I came to these two blues, and I like both of them because they're a little bit warm. At least this one is. I love this color, but it's so cool that I think it's not right for where I'm heading. Warmth, bread, baking. So I feel like I can do a little mixing here, and these are both kind of chalky or matte finish paints. So I'm going to start with the darker one, but add some of the lighter, warmer blue and see what I get. So you really do need a lot of paint for this. So I just put about, I don't know, maybe half the bottle, a little bit more in there. And I'm going to add some of this to it. And again, this is just an experiment in chemistry. Okay, in colors. All right, let's see. Oh, I'm not sure I like this. Well, I don't hate it. How's that? It's a little warmer than the original, but it's also obviously lighter, which I knew was going to happen, and I wasn't sure how I felt about that. So, already looking at this, I want to add more of the dark color. Come on. Yeah, it's warm. And the whole thing is going to get dry brushed white. So this is really like the accent color, if you will. I almost want to add black to it. I might just do that, blacken it up a little bit. So let me do that. Hold on, I need to go get some black. All right, black is something I have a lot of. Now this is just basic acrylic paint. It's not a chalky finish, but I'm not adding that much. So I don't think it's going to affect my mixture that much. So yeah, so that's bringing it a little bit more in line with actually the original color, but still a little grayer. And that's what I want. Something that's blue, but maybe not blue. Let's see. All right. I like that it definitely dulled it down. I know it's hard for you to see. You'll see it more when I start painting. So, I like that color. I'm going with it. So I'm going to start on this side, and I'm using this cheapo brush to paint, and I'm going to start by painting this edge. Oh, that'll be nice. It's nice and dark. I want it dark. So just paint, paint, paint. So nothing special here. Just painting all around the edges. Because once we put end papers on, only parts of this will show. But parts of this will show. So we want to make sure. I didn't need to go that far up there. We want to make sure that those parts are covered. And sometimes with this textured cotton fabric, dabbing helps to get it in to all the crevices. Sorry you have morning voice this morning. It's pretty early. It's like, I don't know, 6 o'clock or something. But I wanted to get this part done so that I can move on. I always tend to do the covers first and then make the innards. So I wanted to get this to where I understood what I wanted to put in it, which I pretty much do in terms of content, but whatever color it wound up was going to dictate whatever complementary colors I use on the inside. Okay, I shouldn't say it's going to dictate it. It was going to influence it. All right, so here I've painted way more than I needed to in terms of how far around I went, because so little of that will show. But my mind saw it white and thought, huh, it needs to be painted. And that's really not so. You could save on paint. I'll come in here and touch up that later. And up there. So now we do the other side, and that includes making sure you get the edges. Okay, so this is a pretty messy job, so I have my studio hoodie on. Then it's just a matter of continuing to add the color. And again, the little pouncing will help get the color into all the little white spots. And if you're not getting all the little white areas covered, try adding a little more paint. And then you shouldn't have any issue at all. So yeah, don't be too skimpy with the paint. I mean, don't glob it on, but it'll all get absorbed. And some of the spots, should you miss them, it's not that big a deal, honestly. It makes it look like it's lived. Okay, so now here I want to make sure I get all inside my design. So I'm going to pounce. And because my design here is made with paper, I'm not going to over saturate it because I don't want the paper to soften too much. So I'm taking sort of a reserved approach with it, but I'm still getting it into all of the lovely places. And it might take a couple of goes at it. And you know that it sort of makes it disappear, so you don't see a lot of my design anymore, but it'll come back. I want to monitor the amount of paint I have, so I make sure I have enough to complete the cover. because I'll have to mix a little bit more to do the back, it's looking like. And since my ratios were kind of what we might call winged, it may not be exact, but few people are going to ever open this book and look at both the cover and the back cover. The furnace is going on. I'm going to turn it off. It doesn't really need to go on. Hold on. Use a little bit stiffer brush to come in here and work on those interior spots where this brush is not penetrating. So this is just an old stencil brush, and it's doing great getting into all of the crevices. Lovely. This will work on this area too. I couldn't actually get it in there with this brush. It wasn't stiff enough. So anywhere where you think you're having issues with paint coverage, go ahead and try a stiffer brush. All right, see, this is what I mean. Don't wear any of your good clothes to do this. All right, and then just paint the back. And I think I'm going to have enough paint to finish the back. You can see where there's still some white and brown showing through. Again, sometimes the stiff brush just gets in there better. Moves the paint around into the little weave of the fabric. And take a little bit more, try and get as much the dark in there as I can, and then let it dry. And we come back for step 2 of the painting. There, so you can see I've covered most of it, and there are some spots where it's still showing through a tiny bit, but in a way that I like. So I'm going to leave it and move on. I can come back and any of the edges or anything else I feel like is not covered adequately, I can come back and touch out. So now we just let this dry. I'm going to let it dry completely because I do not want my next layer of paint blending in with wet paint. I want it to be completely dry before I go at it. So back here. Now this is me just overdoing it. You'd be done by now. But I'm seeing little spots of like, oh, let me see if I can't get that. It already looks fine and good. And again, I want a warm look anyway. So we're going to call this done, let it dry, go clean up my mess a little bit. and go on to the next step. Bye. Okay, so the book is dry enough now to take the second layer of paint that it's going to get. It looks very blue on my video camera, but it's a duller blue than it looks. Anyway, I'm happy with it. I think it's going to be a good color for the base. So now I am going to do a dry brush of a light color, namely this white. And I'm hoping that it actually is dry enough. To go. Take a look at this other color. This is called Plaster, and it's just a basic Waverly chalk paint that I actually like a lot. And then there's this other color called Plaster, which is a little bit beigeier. Oh, I like that too. But this is kind of cool. It's kind of a cool beige. Decisions. Let's see. Although I do kind of like it. I think I might like this more than the white. But what I was going to do with the white was throw a little yellow ochre in to kind of warm it up even more. So it's kind of a toss-up here. Oh, I wish you people could talk to me and give me your feedback on this color. I think it's too cool. I think the blue is cold enough. So I think I'm going to save this. Maybe I'll do parts of it with it, but I'm going to do this instead. So now, because there's so much paint on this, and I believe it's all dry, but I'm not convinced, I'm not going to just stick the brush into the paint and then do this, because if I pick up blue here, I don't want to transfer it to the actual paint itself. So I'm just going to pour a little bit into this cup. It was pretty lumpy paint. It's very thick, which is one of the things I love about it. Oh, come on, stop. Okay. All right, so that looks good. Let me close it up. And I'm gonna get some scrap so I can clean off my brush, because you only want a little bit of paint in here. Oh, look at this, new stains. My first new stains of 2024. All right, so here, I'll just show you this because I just moved it. This was the first curved spine I did yesterday. And you can see, oops, you can see that it has remained curved, even though I only left it on the tube to dry for like 15 or 20 minutes. So it doesn't take as long as you think. I left this one on for an hour because I had the hour. But if you want to make something quicker, know that you can still make a curved spine in 15 minutes. Okay, so back to work. Now what we want to do, move this here, move this over a little bit, because I don't want to drag my brush across my work. Great, there we go. So now I've already got too much paint on this brush, so I'm taking it off. And I should have just hit the tip of the brush, but I could take enough off and I could start just on this side. So you want to just keep moving. You can see, so what this is telling me, how much blue is being picked up, that this cover is not dry enough. So I am going to leave it to dry further, because otherwise it's just going to change the color of the blue, which is okay. That's kind of pretty. Oh, what happened to focus? There we go. I don't know what all happened and what was going on there. But as you saw, you can see now that it's not really hitting white on here, and you can see on my brush I have blue. So I am going to cover the paint, save it for later, clean the brush, save it for later, and give this a few more hours to dry. It's only been maybe an hour since I painted it. It feels dry, but clearly it's not ready. So I had a little bit of change of mind here, because as I'm looking at this, I actually like the coloration in this. I know you can't see it. It looks just stripy, streaky, but it's a really nice lift on this blue. So I'm going to take my chances and go ahead and dry brush this. I have cleaned the brush and I've dried it off. So it's dry enough to work with. And I'm going to just tap into here. I want to get the whole brush covered though. Then tap a lot of it off. And now I'm going to go for it. Yes, there. Now you can see how the bread type is reappearing. And I don't want a lot of this to happen, so you kind of want to start off your piece and bring it back. So you don't want to just put it down like I did there. I should have started off, but I'll fix that. Okay, a little bit more. Now I could just go back to this little bit of paint because I don't need a lot. And again, just get out of the way. Start off the piece and bring it back. Oh, it's coming out beautifully. Come down the spine, do the edges. Do the little areas in here. Oh, lovely. So here's a case where by having it apparently a little wet still because it's coming off on the brush, I'm getting kind of a new color, a lighter color overall, which I expected once I added the white, but I didn't expect it to blend because it would have been, you know, dry. So here I'm going to come this way. And what you want to be careful of is to not get too much globby paint anywhere. So now come up here, big strokes. Lovely. And you can make it as light or dark as you want. And this is a really nice middle for me. But I'm going to lighten it up a little bit. And again, trying to not start too much on the book itself. So now for this, I want to take a little more paint. I want to go this way. Got these streaks this way, all vertical, are making me a little crazy. So I'm going to try and bring up some going in the other direction. So that's it. You just sort of dry it with as much paint, dry brushing as you want. And I do want to open this up to a lighter color. But this looks really beautiful. Happy with it. And you can see now, excuse me, that the word bread really does pop as I had hoped it would. And now I'm just going to continue until I decide I like the tone of the color on the covers. So I'm going to add a little bit more weight to the spine. And just kind of find your groove. There we go. I'm going to get these much lighter. Yeah, this looks beautiful. And again, just kind of take your time. Lighten it up even more. I'm going to come in now and really just touch over the words. So again, you want to kind of hit the edges to really make them pop. Perfect. And then come around here a little bit. So now it's just a matter of taste for you, your own tastes in how light or dark you keep your covers. And I feel like I'm getting to about where I want it to be. A little bit too much right there. That's okay. I'm going to add a little of that mineral. But you can see, I don't know if you can see, it has really changed the feel of the book. And it feels almost denim-y. You want to do the edges as well. And you could do the inside as well. Oh, too much paint. Wipe that off. Oh, see there, I just blended that in. That was my error. So apparently this area is really wet, so I'm going to wait on that. And I'm going to not touch the book with dirty hands. So let's see, yeah, this paint is really just mixing in. So it's fine with me right now because I like the blue it's making, but it's something to be aware of.